What if your loved one's silence wasn't just old age, but their quiet way of saying goodbye? It sounds gentle, even ordinary. Sleeping more, eating less, not picking up the phone. But what if these were the last chances to sit beside them before the door quietly closes? In this video, I'll walk you through 7 subtle signs that often show up weeks or months before the final goodbye signs. Many families miss until it's too late. You'll learn how to recognize them early and how a few small changes can bring comfort, peace, and presence in the moments that matter most. Don't wait. These signs might be the only whisper your loved one gives you. Before we begin, I'd love to know, where are you watching from and what time is it right now? Drop it in the comments, and if you believe in gentle, loving care, just type the word hope. If this feels helpful, hit subscribe so you never miss another thoughtful health tip. Now let's take a quiet step into something that might change how you care forever. The first sign might look harmless, but it's not. Many folks think, well, I'm just getting older, of course I need more naps. But if someone you love starts sleeping 16 or even 18 hours a day and then wandering the house at 2 or 3 a.m., that's not just age. That's your body trying to say something important. I remember talking to Mr. Harold from Tennessee. He was 81 and still loved his afternoon baseball reruns. But one day he started dozing off before the second inning. A week later, he couldn't stay awake through lunch. His daughter thought it was boredom or maybe just poor sleep at night. But deep down, Harold's body was quietly shifting into a different phase 1 that often shows up in the final months of life. Harvard Medical School has written about this. They say the brain's internal clock can get scrambled as the body begins to slow down. It's like your system is switching from drive to rest, and the boundaries between day and night start to blur. It's not a disease. It's not laziness. It's the body pulling its energy inward. Now, if we don't notice this change, we might miss the chance to offer better care, or worse, we might get frustrated. Why are you sleeping so much? Why are you up again at 3 a.m.? But what your loved one really needs is grace and a bit more presence. Here's a simple way to help just start tracking sleep in a little notebook. Nothing fancy. Note how many hours they nap during the day and how much they sleep at night. If it's more than 15-16 hours a day for a full week, it's time to check in with a doctor. Sometimes just noticing the pattern early can help adjust care plans or simply give the family a heads up to spend more quiet time together. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to notice and respond with calm. Because love at this stage of life often looks like sitting beside someone as they nap a little longer, holding their hand instead of waking them up. Coming up next, we'll talk about another sign that might look like a picky appetite, but could be your loved one's way of letting go. Stay with me. The second sign is easy to miss, but it speaks louder than words. When someone you love pushes away their favorite meal, it's not always because they're full or picky. It might be something much deeper, something the body is trying to say without using a single word. I still remember Miss Ethel from Michigan. She was 82 and had made apple pie every Sunday for over 60 years. Warm cinnamon, just the way her grandkids loved it. Then one Sunday, she took one bite and left the rest on her plate. The next week, she didn't even ask for dessert. Her daughter thought maybe it was a bad day or a new medication, but it kept happening. Within 2 months, Ethel had lost 15 pounds, and she just didn't seem to care. The truth shared by palliative doctors at Mayo Clinic is this: as the body prepares for its final chapter, digestion begins to slow. It's not a choice, it's a shift. The body no longer spends energy breaking down full meals. Instead, it focuses on keeping the heart, the lungs, the brain going for as long as possible. So food, no matter how delicious, can start to feel like a burden. Flavors fade. Smells become too much. Even swallowing can feel like a chore. That's why forcing someone to eat, even out of love, can do more harm than good. But there's a gentler way to help. Offer small portions of soft, comforting foods. Think warm soup, mashed potatoes, maybe even a spoonful of applesauce. The goal isn't calories, it's comfort. Sit beside them. Share a moment. Don't watch the plate, watch their eyes. And if you're worried about the change, don't guess. Ask. Write down what they're eating or not eating over the week. Bring it to the doctor. Sometimes what feels like loss is actually the body asking for a different kind of care. More than anything, remember the meal may be smaller, but the love can be bigger. Because in the end, it's not about what's on the plate. It's about the memory, the warmth, and the quiet company. In the next part, we'll talk about something even more quiet when your loved one stops talking, not because they're angry, but because they're turning inward. Stay with me. The third sign is one many families overlook until it's too quiet to ignore. You might notice your loved one no longer calls like they used to. They stop joining in on Sunday dinners. They don't sit out on the porch watching the neighbors go by. And at first, it's easy to think they're just tired or in a bad mood. But I want to gently offer another possibility. I remember Franklin, an 84-year-old from Ohio. He was the kind of man who never missed Friday poker night. Rain or shine, he'd show up with his lucky cap and a sleeve full of peppermints. But one day he didn't go. Then the phone calls stopped. His daughter thought he was just having an off week, but that week turned into a quiet month. Eventually, the doctors explained something that surprised the family. Franklin wasn't depressed, he was slowly letting go. According to palliative care research from Johns Hopkins, some people nearing the end of life begin to withdraw, not out of sadness, but because their attention is gently turning inward. It's like the world outside starts to dim, and the world inside becomes more peaceful. Now, if we don't understand that we might try to fix it, we tell them, come on, cheer up, or let's go out for a walk. And we mean well, of course, but sometimes that kind of pressure only makes them feel more distant, or worse, misunderstood. So what helps instead? Offer small moments, not big expectations. Sit with them. No need for conversation if they don't feel like talking. Just being there can mean everything. A soft touch on the hand, playing their favorite music, reading aloud from an old letter or memory book. And remember, this kind of quietness isn't rejection, it's reflection. It's not them pulling away from you. It's them getting closer to something only they can feel. If you're seeing this with someone you love, try this next time you sit with them. Don't bring an agenda. Just bring yourself. Your presence might be the most comforting thing in the world right now. In the next part, we'll talk about something even more unexpected when your loved one starts speaking to someone who isn't there. It might sound strange, but it could be a beautiful sign of peace ahead. Stay with me. The fourth sign might surprise you, but it's more common than you think. When someone starts softly talking to a loved one who passed years ago, it's not always confusion. It might be something sacred. I once met Vernon, a kind man from Florida, 86 years old. He could still recall baseball stats from the 50s, remembered every grandkid's birthday, and enjoyed reading the newspaper front to back. But in the evenings, his daughter started hearing him talk quietly in the living room. At first, she thought he was on the phone. Then one night she heard him say, "Martha, I know you're here." Martha was his wife. She had been gone 6 years. His daughter was heartbroken. She feared Alzheimer's or some kind of memory loss. But after speaking with a hospice nurse, she learned something comforting. According to neurologists at the Cleveland Clinic, when someone nears the end of life, their brain sometimes begins to drift, not because it's broken, but because it's transitioning. In that space between clarity and mystery, it's not unusual to see moments like this. They may speak to their mother who passed 40 years ago, or wave at someone who isn't there. These aren't hallucinations, they're emotional bridges. It's the brain letting go of linear time and the heart reaching for closure. Now, if we don't understand this, we might react in fear. We might correct them. Dad, she's not here. Mom, that's not real. But those corrections, while well-meaning, can actually cause distress or worse, fear. So instead of stopping the moment, join it. If they're smiling, let them. If they're remembering a story, ask them to tell you more. Sometimes those stories are ones they've never shared before, hidden gems wrapped in memory. What helps most is presence. Sit with them. Listen. Write it down if it feels important. These could be quiet goodbyes, or final gifts they're passing along in their own way. And remember, this isn't a sign of weakness. It may be a sign of peace, a gentle crossing, not a breakdown. Coming up next, we'll talk about another shift that can catch you off guard when the body begins to lose strength, even in the smallest movements, and how to respond with patience, not pressure. Stay with me. The fifth sign is one many of us mistake for just getting older, but it's not that simple. When someone suddenly struggles to get out of their chair or needs help pouring a cup of coffee, especially if it's something they've done for years, that's not just fatigue. It's their body telling us something quietly but clearly. I remember Carmen from just outside Austin. She was 83 and proud of her morning routine. Every day she'd water her roses, check the mailbox, and sit by the window with her coffee. Then one spring morning, her daughter found her still in her robe, sitting on the edge of the bed, staring down at her shoes. She wasn't in pain. She wasn't confused. She was just tired in a way her family had never seen before. After a gentle visit with her doctor, they learned that Carmen wasn't ill in the traditional sense. According to the American Geriatric Society, in the final stretch of life, the body begins to redirect its energy. It stops feeding the muscles and saves what little fuel is left for the heart, the lungs, and the brain. So when someone says, "I just don't feel strong anymore," it's not weakness, it's not giving up. It's the body letting go slowly and with grace. But this is where we as family can sometimes push without meaning to. Come on, just try a little harder. Or, you've got to move or you'll get worse. And while movement is important, the expectation can sometimes do more harm than good. Here's what helps instead: adjust the home, not just the attitude. Remove throw rugs that slide. Add grab bars in the bathroom. Place a sturdy chair by the hallway so they can rest when they need to. And most importantly, adjust your heart. Let them do what they can, but don't measure their worth by how far they walk or how much they lift. Because in this stage, love isn't about pushing forward. It's about walking slower, sitting closer, and holding steady when their strength fades. Next, we'll talk about a sign that's so quiet it often goes unnoticed: changes in breathing. It might sound small, but it can mean everything. Stay with me. Kamakalili, or the sixth sign, isn't loud, but when you hear it, it stays with you. It's the sound of breathing that suddenly changes faster than usual, shallower, or sometimes it just stops for a moment before starting again. That's what happened with Raymond, a 79-year-old retired firefighter from Georgia. His wife Elaine first noticed it during his afternoon naps. He'd be breathing quickly one minute, then go silent. She'd hold her own breath, waiting. Just when she reached to check on him, he'd take another soft breath, like nothing happened. At first she panicked, but when she spoke to his hospice nurse, she learned something that brought comfort. According to the National Hospice and Palliative Care Organization, these kinds of changes, sometimes called Cheney-Stokes breathing, are common in the final weeks or months of life. It's not an emergency. It's the body slowly adjusting, conserving energy, shifting how the lungs and brain work together. What's happening isn't scary if you know what it means. The lungs begin to work in shorter bursts. The brain sends signals less often. It's like the body is resting more deeply between each breath. But if you don't know this, it's easy to overreact. You rush to the hospital, you call for oxygen, and while those responses come from love, sometimes they add more stress than peace. So what can you do instead? Make the space calm. Raise their head gently with a pillow. Open the window just a crack or turn on a quiet fan. A little breeze can help them breathe easier. You don't need to fix anything, you just need to be there. If you're unsure, always talk to their doctor or hospice nurse, not to solve it, but to guide you through it. Elaine told me that once she understood what was happening, she stopped sitting in fear. She sat in love. She held his hand. She listened to the rhythm of his breath, not as something to fear, but something to be present with. That's the gift of knowing. Gift. Not to change the ending, but to walk it with more peace. In the next part, we'll talk about a sign that doesn't show up in the body, but in the heart. When someone starts giving away special things or calling people they haven't spoken to in years, it might not be random, it might be a message. Stay with me. The The seventh sign doesn't show up in the body, it shows up in the heart. You might notice it when someone starts talking about people they haven't spoken to in years, or when they quietly pull out an old box dust off a keepsake and say, "I think this belongs to Jason." That's what Lawrence did. He was 85 and living in Nevada. One morning he asked to call his brother. They hadn't spoken in nearly 20 years. No one remembered what had caused the silence, but Lawrence did. He said it just doesn't sit right anymore. Later that week, he started giving away his old tools. Each one had a story. "This hammer's for Jason. He always watched me fix the fence with it." His daughter worried. She thought maybe he was giving up. But a gentle conversation with his hospice nurse brought clarity. According to the National Institute on Aging, this kind of emotional preparation is common and natural when someone feels the end is near. It's not about sadness. It's about settling unfinished chapters, passing things on, saying goodbye with meaning. If we miss this, we might miss something sacred. These aren't random requests. They're gentle signals. The heart wants peace, and the spirit wants to leave something behind, not just objects, but memories, love, forgiveness. So what can we do when a loved one brings up a name? Help them reach out. Write that letter. Make that call. Don't brush it off. And when they offer you something, an old photo, a worn-out cap, even a spoon with a story, accept it. Not because you need it, but because they need to give it. That object might be the last chapter of their life story, handed to you to keep telling. This kind of giving isn't about material things, it's about meaning, about legacy, about love that lives on even after they're gone. So listen with your heart. And when they say, "Do you think we should call him?" say yes. Because sometimes the most healing thing we can do is help someone say their last words with peace. Up next, we'll wrap everything together and talk about how these quiet signs, once understood, can help you bring comfort, not fear, to life's final moments. Stay with me. The eighth sign isn't something they say, it's something you feel. It's in the way they look at you when you're about to leave the room. Not with sadness and not to ask for anything. Just quiet eyes that seem to say, "Don't go just yet. Sit with me a little longer." Mrs. Carroll from Ohio told me about the day her mother, who had been very ill, simply reached out and took her hand. No words, just that small, steady grip. Carol had been checking her watch thinking about dinner, but in that moment she knew this was more important. So she sat back down, and they listened to her dad's old records together, the ones he loved from the war years. According to AARP, many older adults nearing the end of life won't ask directly for affection, but they long for connection. A hand to hold, a familiar song, a poem they memorized back in school. It's not about conversation, it's about presence. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to say anything wise, you just need to be there. Modern studies in palliative care show that simple acts like physical touch, eye contact, and soft music lower stress hormones and bring comfort more than any medication could. Even 5 minutes of closeness can make someone feel deeply seen. And in those final chapters, being seen is everything. So if you find yourself standing at the door, unsure what to say, maybe don't say anything. Come back, sit down, play their favorite hymn. Let your silence be full of love. Because one day you'll remember that quiet hour more than any word spoken. And when they close their eyes and your hand is still in theirs, you'll know you gave them what they truly needed, not more time, but more peace in the time they had. We'll close this journey next, tying everything together, not in fear, but in tenderness. Let's talk about how noticing these quiet signs isn't about saying goodbye. It's about saying, "I'm here, and I love you. Stay with me." So my friend, if there's one thing I hope you carry with you from this video, it's that the quiet moments, the small looks, the soft touches, the memories shared, often speak louder than words. Being present, truly present, is sometimes the greatest gift we can offer one another. If something we talked about today touched your heart, I'd love to hear from you. Just leave a comment below, share your thoughts of memory, or simply type the word HOPE to let me know you're with me. And if this message brought you comfort or clarity, please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the little bell so you don't miss future videos like this. And most importantly, share this with someone you care about. You never know who might need to hear it today. Until next time, may your days be peaceful, your nights gentle, and may you always feel surrounded by love, both given and received.